India versus Australia means big predictions. Some call it as big as the Ashes. Certainly, in terms of revenue, it will be a windfall for Cricket Australia. One man who has not just loved playing India, but touring India as well. Steve Waugh, the former Australian captain, and we catch up with him too. He has been having a close look at both the teams in his base in Sydney. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, Steve. Welcome to the show. Would you say that when India meets Australia these days, the intensity of the competition is less than what you had in your days? Because, you know, today Kohli and Finch are friends. They share an RCB dressing room. Won't it be a little awkward for Virat to sledge Finch and vice versa when they meet on the international stage?
I don't think sledging really will come into it. There'll be gamesmanship and they'll be banter and they'll be very passionate. I think they'll put aside the fact that they've played together and they're in opposite countries. And Virat's obviously representing India, 1.4 billion people, and Aaron's captain of the one-day side in Australia, who's got equally passionate supporters. So yeah, it'll be just like any other match, and there'll be the normal talk out in the middle of it. I don't think sledging really is a feature of international cricket the way people imagine it is. There's not a lot of that going on because it doesn't work. I mean, if you sledge Virat Kohli, you can guarantee you'll go out and score 100, so it'd be silly to do that.
Steve, you have a great deal of appreciation for Virat Kohli, but what about him that you would say really stands out? Is it Virat the performer or Virat the captain?
Watching from the sidelines, it looks like he likes the contest and he likes to get into that personal battle, and that it gets his juices flowing. So I tend to stay away from making him a bit rolled up. It was a bit like Brian Lara or Sachin Tendulkar or Javed Miandad or Viv Richards.
Interesting.
They're certainly the guys you didn't want to say too much to.
Steve, do you think of Virat Kohli as an Aussie, given the way he is, his aggression, the way he marshals his troops?
Happy to take him on our side for sure. Playing Bain, aggressive, positive, backs himself, never thinks he's out of the game. So that's a great attitude to have. And I think that's what we like about a cricketer like Virat Kohli. We see a lot of the Australian mentality in the way he plays, but he's leading this Indian side in a bit of a different manner to other captains, and he wants to win away from home to justify the tag of being the world's best Test match team. That's what he wants for his team.
Steve, there were great expectations pinned on Virat Kohli's team, that is Royal Challengers Bangalore during the IPL. They were lucked out. Do you think that would add to extra motivation to go ahead and win the series? Can India really have big wins under Virat Kohli? He wants to make winning abroad his legacy.
He said that a number of times, and that's a great thing to aim for. This will be his ultimate litmus test. I mean, India won last time in Australia, but we obviously didn't have Warner and Smith and no Labuschagne. So this time it'll be a lot tougher for India, but this will be serious. I'm sure he's earmarked a couple of years ago to try and win, and it's something that if he does pull it off, it will be a testament to his captaincy. So I'm sure he sees this as a big opportunity.
Now, Virat Kohli has a team full of stars. You have captained an Australian side full of massive performers. What would your tip be to Virat Kohli to handle these men who are now huge brands?
Aware that their brand will drop very quickly if they're not in the international side. So you don't want to get too carried away with because you're in the current team, because if you're out of that, your brand drops straight away. So the best way to enhance your brand is to play good cricket. And I think you've got to put aside egos and realise that you're privileged to play international cricket and don't take it for granted. So ensure there's no complacency inside and everyone is going in the same direction. So that needs good leadership, and not only from the captain and the coach, but from the senior players.
In a way, you're saying that captaincy should not be limited to the captain alone. Tell me, you said it'll be tougher for India this time around. Is that because of the return of Smith, Labuschagne and Warner in the team?
With those three guys, you add 50 Test match centuries to the lineup.
Right.
So that says that's a massive amount of firepower and experience and know-how and quality and class to the team. So it'll make a big difference to Australia, confidence-wise.
Steve, talking about India's bowling, there will be no Ishant Sharma for at least the first test, no Bhuvneshwar Kumar for the series. Do you think that Jasprit Bumrah alone can do the job for the team?
A big loss. I mean, those guys have got experience in overseas conditions. But having said that, India, for the first time in a long while, has got a lot of depth in their bowling, and they've got guys capable of taking 20 wickets. So I think they'll overcome that pretty quickly, and there'll be an opportunity for some of the younger bowlers to come through. And alongside, Bumrah has been an outstanding find for India over the last couple of years. And he'll spearhead the attack in Australia, and he'll like the conditions out here.
Talking about the white ball series, would it be an advantage for the ones who participated in the IPL?
It should be a pretty smooth transition for those guys into white ball cricket. The big challenge will be when they play Test cricket, haven't played much 4-day matches. So yeah, 1 days and T20, they'll slot in no problems and continue their form, which is shown in the Middle East. But as I say, then transferring to Test match cricket, that's when it's going to be tougher, particularly on the bowlers who haven't had long spells. I think the batsmen will adjust pretty quickly, but the bowlers who are expected to bowl 20 overs in a day might find that a bit taxing, particularly when you've got 4 Test matches in a relatively short space of time.
Steve, India are touring Australia at the back of a T20 series, that's the IPL. Did you pick any special talent? Do you have your eyes on any of these guys, and you're hoping for them to come good during the series against Australia?
There's always amazing talent, and Shubman Gill, I think, is a really quality player from Calcutta, and I think he's a player to watch, and he's going to be the future of India cricket. I actually saw him playing the under-19s, and he stood out as a definite Test match style. So I think he's one guy that will definitely go on to bigger things for India.
Steve, in the Adelaide Test, which is going to be our 9th Test, India's first down under, will Australia have an advantage given that they have never lost a night Test match, and the Indians may just find it a little hard to adjust under the lights?
It's difficult. Look, I never played a day-night Test match, but I played day-night 1 days, and it's certainly a different dynamic, and it's much harder to bat under lights, particularly when the ball does a bit. So you've got to adjust to the conditions, but I think at the same time you can't overthink it. You've still got to play good Test match cricket. You're still going to come out on top. So we'll have a slight advantage because we've played more of it, but it's not to say that India won't be with a chance, because they've got a quality side, quality players, and I see someone like Virat Kohli just seeing this as a huge challenge, and it's something they want to overcome.
Interesting that you are the only one among several people who I have spoken to about India's chance in the Adelaide Test feel that India has a real chance in that night Test match. Now, you mentioned India has men to take 20 wickets. What about Australia? Does Australia have the firepower in its bowling to challenge India?
We've got a very good bowling attack, world-class quick bowlers, and Nathan Lyon to back it up. So our attack is world-class. I mean, and you've got a number of players. I mean, you've got obviously Stark, and Hazelwood and Cummins, and then Pattinson, and there's probably 3 or 4 other quicks. So we've got a lot of quicks lining up and quality spin. So we have the attack to do some damage, that's for sure, and they're very accurate bowlers as well, and they've played it a lot together.
Steve, what is your series prediction for the Test series, because India is defending the Border-Gavaskar trophy?
It's going to be very close. I think either 2-2 or 2-1 to Australia.
Wow, you're saying that India will not be able to defend it. Well, before we let you go, for you, India, is a place that you've not just loved playing against, but also touring. Let me ask you about your new India project. This time, you were in India little before the lockdown to capture the spirit of cricket. Tell us about it.
It's called the Spirit of Cricket. So I wanted to capture why cricket is a religion to all people in India. And I went for 17 days this January, and I went all around India, 9 different cities. And we went to the mountains, to the deserts, to the beaches. We met 100-year-old cricketers down to 3-year-old cricketers, met physically challenged cricketers, blind cricket players, Women's Cricket Academy, and really trying to capture through my lens what the spirit of cricket means to people in India.
Steve, you must have made it to India just before the lockdown because this project of yours happened during the lockdown. How did you see Indian cricket pre the coronavirus?
We were lucky actually because we just got out of India before COVID really became a global issue, and got back home and I had 20,000 photos to sort through. So it gave me time to go through those. That was a long process, getting down to the final 250 for the book and now 70 prints for this exhibition. It took a lot of work, and we also did a documentary film behind the scenes which airs in Australia in a couple of weeks. So really 3 projects at once going together. So getting a book together, organising a photographic exhibition and putting together a documentary.
Steve, before I let you go, I remember you coming to India at Udain near Kolkata a couple of decades ago. That was your first venture in India. When you wrote Out of the Comfort Zone, that also had bits of India. Why did India come back to you after 15 years of your retirement?
I had in the back of my mind, I wanted to go to India, come back to India one day and take these photos of the kids and people playing cricket, in the streets, in the alleyways, in the slums, at the foothills of the mountains. I just saw these incredible scenes, but I could never get out and take the photos because when you're an international cricketer, you get swarmed and there's 1,000 people around you as soon as you hop off the team bus. Now it's a bit different. 15 years after retiring, people gave me a bit of space, even though they knew who I was, and I just said, look, I'm here to capture the spirit of cricket. We'll have a cricket game afterwards, but can you just let me take some natural photos of you? So it was a lot easier. So it was a project that I had in the back of my mind for the 20-odd years I toured playing cricket in India. I did want to come back and make this a project.
Steve, thank you very much. I hear that some of the Indian players in Sydney are very keen to go and visit your exhibition. Good luck with that, and thanks for your thoughts on the series. India begins its tour down under tomorrow morning.